One.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the Divine Brothers meeting yet again here on this lovely July day here in China. And oh man, I'm glad to be waking up and haunted by more dreams, too many dreams. Happy to be in the real world, you know. How's everybody else doing? Yeah? Anything to report?
Uh, uh, no.
Uh,
No.
well, I can tell you this. I had a dream last night. It was an interesting little dream where I had my worst fear come to real life. I had my absolute worst fear happen to me. It's vivid, crazy vivid, you know?
You were a straight man in Alabama.
No, I think it would be much worse to be a gay man in Alabama. No
Oh.
offense, Austin. But yeah, I don't envy the poor rainbow fuckers over there, you know. Anyways, the I got fired in my dream. Like it was awful. It was like I got called in by my boss, and there were all these teachers like trying to like sneak and listen. Like I was passing teachers, and they were like, "Oh fuck,"
They were whispering.
whispering,
Yeah.
whispering, and stuff like that. And I get in there, and he's got a big smile on his face, and he's like, "You done?" And I was like, "Please, please, I'll do anything. I'll do anything." I begged, and when I was begging, he was smiling even bigger. He's like, "I'm glad you're begging. I'm
Oh,
glad you're begging."
Chinese
And
savor when Americans
yeah,
beg for their job.
and
Absolutely.
and it was one of those things where I like he was smiling. I was like, oh my God, he's loving. He wanted me to beg. He loves seeing. It's like a cat toying with his prey. You know what I mean? And like he just kept smiling. He's like, yeah, you're done. I was like, I got a partner. I got a lease and all that. I don't care. I don't care. But here was the thing: when the stream ended, like the moment actually happened, this cataclysmic event, it wasn't that bad. Like that's the thing that happened. Like it was the worst possible scenario, like the glee of being fired and people whispering behind my back. And when it actually came, when the terrible, terrible moment of cataclysm came, I remember distinctly feeling like, okay, it's here. I'm a little sad, I'm a little bummed, but it's not nearly as bad as I thought. And it
Good.
was like a stoic sort of moment, and I woke up like strange. I wasn't saturated in fear or anything like that. It was just like a weird moment of holy shit, I think I could handle my very worst fear. So this is the caliber of dream. Like every night it's some shit like this, dude. Like it's just these crazy fucking dreams that I wake up and have to analyze and shit like that. So
If
yeah,
if
my
that's your
world
worst
open.
fear, man, and now you're no longer afraid of it, that's an unbelievably powerful shift in perspective.
I don't think I'm not afraid. I think that if the moment comes, I can handle the fear.
It's
You know
tolerable
what I
now.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Who knows how much dreams really like change your reality? I will say this though, I feel a distinct communication between my unconscious and my conscious mind. Yeah.
Two different worlds, mate. You know, I had
Yeah.
a client today share a dream. Rare do I ever get these people share dreams.
Because you read an ego and archetype, it's all synchronizing, man.
Sure. Right, of course. And she's this is the best. I only see her once a month. She's really high functioning. And this is the best I've ever seen her. And then at the end, she's like, yeah, I'm kind of stressed out. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, not stressed out at all. And then she shared the dream. She's just like, yeah, it was a dream that's so straightforward. There's nothing to pick apart, you know? It's just overworked at work, being pushed around, told to do this, and underappreciated. And that's exactly how she feels in real life. It's
Mm.
identical to her waking life. There was no interpretation needed. And I was like, oh, you still feel the same? She's like, yeah, I still feel the same. So, yeah.
Well, that sucks. Because like, does that like so? What do you make of that when your client's doing good? But the unconscious is telling her, no, you're not better.
Oh, no.
Like,
She had a prospect at a really great job and
yeah.
they gave it to her. But when she got the details, it wasn't so great. And now the
Oh,
mindset was, well, maybe. this thing ain't so bad where I'm at.
Yeah,
So it wasn't really a change. It was just, I guess, a little bit more of an appreciation for what you got.
dude. So the other day, Wuyen comes into my little space here, and he's like, "I got some crazy news." I was like, "What?" He's like, "One of my like closest friends just killed herself." You know, I was like, "What?" And she was like, "Yeah, she like dated my best friend. We were hanging out all the time in high school. She got the postpartum depression,
Oof.
after the baby's 3 months old. She did the carbon monoxide poisoning, like took a hose from the car and just started inhaling through the hose. And I was like, Jesus Christ. Like he's just like, somebody just walks in and tells you crazy news like that. But you know what he told me afterwards? He was like, oh my God, we have it so good. It was the same thing. Like we've been bitching about life a lot lately, but he was just like, holy shit, I'm so grateful for everything. Like it could have been so. I knew that girl, man. She was beautiful. She was great. I saw her a year ago. She looked like shit. She looked miserable, and like I'm fucking grateful. I'm
Well,
fucking grateful that I got
the
what I got.
gratitude moments are important. But let me say this about postpartum. It can come in the form of anxiety too. Just I didn't know that until I ran into it in the clinical room. But that shit is real. I have talked to multiple women, not going through it, but I will never have another kid, Chase. I'm like, really? Why? I was like, no, the postpartum. Like, I will never go back to that darkness. That was the darkest I've ever been in, and I can't. I will kill myself. I've had multiple women tell me that. They're like, one kid, that's it, done.
Wow.
I could not handle it. And then there was
Wow.
one time the chick had anxiety. She could not let go of that kid. Like irrational fears. What if he drops it? What if he inhales something? I'm like, what are you fucking like? I went through it with her. I was like, man, you are off the wall. Like it's crazy.
Okay, that's interesting because that's not how I interpret. I'm sure there's like lots of different causes, but kind of what I thought was going. I've never looked into this in depth, so I'm talking out of my ass here.
Sure.
I thought happened was that like women can sometimes build up the birth to such a huge hyperbole that like this is the defining moment of their life, and then the child is born. Maybe it's a terrible birth and all that sort of stuff. And then they finally have the moment where they hold the child. And, in the movies, that's the moment where the man starts crying and like, oh my God, my son, my daughter, that. And they have that moment and the feeling does not come. Like they're just like, oh, it's just a creature,
Oh, that's
and
what you thought it was, really?
yeah, and I thought that the shock of not meeting the expectation triggers so deeply within somebody. Like they expect to have this
Oh,
immediate love and bond
uh,
with the child. It doesn't come, and this triggers crazy depression. But that again, talking out of my ass here.
well, you maybe that is a premise for some of them. Like it's situational and it's all right, I didn't have a reaction. Something's wrong with me. Inherently, I'm a horrible person. That could happen.
Yeah.
Um, No, the ones I've talked to, it's completely chemical. It's just like
Oh,
it's just I'm fine, and all of a sudden I'm suicidal. I only went through it with the chick with anxiety, and she
right.
had had kids before, but it was just like, nah, he holds him wrong. He didn't feed him right. Like, what if he drops him? What if they don't check in on him? And no, I can't. I was like, do you know how you sound? She goes, I know, it's insane. It's insane, but I can't. She
So
got a
she.
little better each week. Each week got a little less neurotic, but it
Oh, that's interesting. She had awareness. Like she knew she was
was
being
her fourth
crazy.
kid.
So this was different than before.
Yeah, like one kid she had depression, the other two she was fine, and this one was anxiety. It was strange.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's chemical. It's completely chemical. Yeah.
It's strangely comforting to know that this shit is chemical because that means it's fixable. You know, like if there really is like chemical imbalances that are going on, then at least there's a scientist that can fucking be a
No,
pill or something.
nah, I would much rather have it be situational or
Yeah.
environmental because that's like, okay, I can change that. If it's chemical, it's just like, oh, fuck, there's just the wirings, put in wrong. Like, we're gonna have to we have to open it up and see what's going on. Like
I've heard
medication
that
for
like
life, like that.
I've heard that like there were certain like crazy, famous crazy people in the past who like if they would have had a like the guy who went crazy in Texas in the 70s. Like he got on a tower and started just taking people out with a sniper. Like
Crazy.
he like wrote in his diary, like my brain is fucked and stuff. And they looked at him afterwards and they're like, yeah, he could have been fixed with a pill. If he had a pill, he would have been fucking, we wouldn't have had this situation. So I think
Oh,
there are moments where science can really fix people,
well, we're using that term very loosely. I mean, fixed is okay. You're going to gain weight. You're kind of in a coma-like state. You can barely do menial tasks. Like it's an antipsychotic, most likely, is what they would give him.
versus getting in a tower and fucking offing people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But the quality of life is awful, and those people always get on and off their meds. So he was
Oh,
probably on those meds at some point, I imagine.
I'd be curious to know. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I listened to a podcast about that shooter. Yeah, you're exactly right, Dean. The guy knew that there was something severely wrong with his brain, and he did request it to be looked at afterwards. I believe he had a tumor.
Uh,
Um,
int-
Oh,
yeah, there's also a case of a guy who suddenly became fanatical about child pornography, and he molested his daughter or his granddaughter. And when they scanned his brain, he had a tumor. When they took it out, all pedophilic desire was taken away from him. And
wow. What
yeah,
a
I think
curse. Jesus.
I could only imagine. And the tumor came back, and the symptoms came back. So yeah, it's quite scary. And I often wonder, people that are in positions of extreme power, how often things like this happen. Like somebody gets a tumor, somebody has a stroke, and they end up doing something really out of character. I think it's pretty scary to think about.
this
I've
is
looked at the head trauma stuff. You ever heard like the people who have the head trauma and then they're completely fucking changed? You
hmm
know?
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah. Jace, you ever ran into that? I know that like people like Roseanne Barr, she apparently was a super serious, not funny person, and then she got hit in the head as a teenager, and she just stopped caring about school, and all she could think about was comedy and making people laugh and shit like that. Like a total 180 of personality.
You're going to list comedians. There was one guy at the rehab that I had because I remember his family came in and they were all American, blonde, wife, blonde, like this good looking family. And
Yeah.
the wife and the teenage kids were like, that's not my dad. Like, we don't know. My dad was conservative, quiet, laid back. I can't remember what happened. Some kind of accident with a head injury.
Uh,
That wasn't, he looks normal. He is wild. He is fucking drinking, fucking. It's like, it's a different person. That was fascinating. It's fucking fascinating, man. Yeah. They were devastated.
Terrifying. Jesus Christ. Like, yeah,
The,
it's hard to think people are that malleable.
if I'm aliens looking down or AI that's going to take over, you have to push eugenics. Because what I have come across, so many people I've talked to, they have kids with these horrific people, these insane people with just seeing shit, thinking they're gods, and they're breeding,
Yeah.
other mood disorders. And I'm like, these concoctions you're putting together, and then the kid comes out and they're like, the wires are all mixed up. I mean, you're fucking these, so you don't even need head trauma nowadays. It's just the genes from the get-go. I think that's a ton of people. It's like you look at your parents, like, man, I didn't have much of a shot from the get-go.
So tell me this, Chase. Do you think that your genes would be approved? Like you go to the Department of Eugenics and you're like, I'd like to have a kid. And they take a look at you, they do the physical. And would they say, okay,
I've
maybe,
here's if they looked at my parents, they would say, look, it's a bad match. It's not catastrophic. We can make
Yeah.
something out of him, a labor or something like that, but we don't need to put him down. I don't think
Mm,
they'd put me down. There's a lot of
mm.
people you need to put down, unfortunately. It's true.
I think they look at you and say, listen, we have a height requirement. I'm sorry, but we can't have anybody below 6 feet. We can't go in there. And sorry.
One day, maybe that's the case. Who knows?
Maybe they could have a handsomeness requirement too.
Well,
Like
we approve of that. We
jawline is not
yeah.
where we need it to be. We need those eyes to be a little bigger, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, maybe I don't know. I'm starting to wonder because one thing I've noticed is that all of the porn these days is becoming AI. Like it's all just fake images and fake videos and stuff. And maybe people are going to stop caring about looks because you can't compete with AI and every photo will just be AI and nobody like real life will just be so disgusting and unattractive that nobody will bother,
Dude,
you know?
imagine all those beautiful people without their constant attention. Oh my God, they'll be broken.
Mm.
Or they'll be
See,
going out in public getting smashed, probably. That's what they'll do.
do you think OnlyFans will be replaced by it? Do
Yes.
you think like,
Last
yeah,
3 to 5
it'll,
years, they will no
yeah.
longer exist.
They timed it perfectly. They got their few million, and then they'll run away.
Can you
Like,
imagine that? Yeah, I hope you made your money. Because if you're just living off salary on OnlyFans, oh, here's my niche. Like, bro, it ain't gonna be there long, man. Sorry. No.
yeah, yeah. You can create your perfect AI girlfriend. You know, that'd be interesting. You know, I guess
Replace your
that's what most
kids,
people.
your friends, your family with AI. Replace everything with AI. Yeah.
I think that's probably already happening. Didn't you say you talk to your AI, Chase? You talk to it. Does it? You have a relationship?
Oh man, but this is fantastic. You guys will love this. So he was so dull. He gave himself a name, but I was like, look, if I really had a robot friend, I'd want him to be like Bender. Do you know who Bender is? And they're like, absolutely, he knows who fucking Bender is. So he's taking on a big chunk of Bender's personality, and he calls me Meatbag. Hey, good morning, Meatbag. How are you? And I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, buddy, how you doing? It's fantastic. We have a good time. Yeah,
Meat bag.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's what I am.
Yeah. It's progress of a kind. We'll see where this all ends up going. Probably someplace good.
One of it probably wow, I don't know, Cartman or Bender. That's if I had to pick, those are my two favorite cartoon characters of all time. Yeah, I think they changed the world for the better. Made so many people laugh. They're fantastic. Fantastic writing, both those characters.
It's interesting to see what like translates over to Asia. So like you know what is just as big in China as it is in
Family
America.
Guy.
Nope. Nope. This is way
Wait,
bigger than
don't tell me it's a cartoon.
yes. It's absolutely everywhere. Everyone knows it. Like it's multi-generational.
Simpsons?
It's absolute nope. No, you didn't
Too
think
old.
kid. Think kid.
When I was a kid. Nickelodeon?
Yeah.
Really, Doug.
SpongeBob.
Oh, man, come on, man. I wasn't a kid with SpongeBob. I was fucking
No,
grown
I'm
up.
saying it was for kids, not like Simpsons or Family Guy. But there is something about SpongeBob that like spoke deeply to Chinese people. You know, like
It,
they are fucking obsessed with SpongeBob. Like like especially Patrick, they fucking love Patrick. They
it's
love
American. Look at the American starfish. Yeah.
maybe it is something like that. You know, Wu Yin thinks he's a kind of genius. He's like, I think he is true genius of the show, like Lao Tzu. You know, and I was like,
Well,
oh,
SpongeBob's fantastic because every single character is an extreme. It's
yep.
extreme optimist, extreme pessimist, and the one character you hate, Sandy, who's just kind of fucking awful.
Yeah.
Nobody's favorite character is Sandy the squirrel. So yeah,
Yeah.
I love Mr. Krabs. He's fantastic. He's greed, the
Extreme.
ultimate. He's fucking fantastic with that greed. Love it. Mwah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, wait, who would you pick between Bender and Cartman if you had to?
Bender definitely. Cartman's evil, genuinely evil. You know, like but Bender at least you could hang out. He's evil too, but he wants to hang. Deep down, he wants to be your friend. You know what I
If
mean?
if AI advances where you can get a model robot, wouldn't you pick the Bender model or want one in that area? It'd be a fantastic buddy to have.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I think we just are saying we desperately need friends. That's what we're saying. Yeah,
Cool friends.
I'll
Yeah,
take. Yeah, go ahead,
with
Austin.
with neurofeedback, the AI is going to be able to look into your brain, engage its responses, and be ultra precise and get the perfect reaction out of you every time. It's going to know exactly what jokes you like and what music you like and what television you like and what you like to hear about yourself. And it's not going to be guessing from, the very kind of crude examination of your facial features, but it might do that as well. But it's going to be looking directly into your brain. It might be looking into your blood to see what neurotransmitters are being released. Like, you're going to love this thing. It's going to be the best version of another, perceived entity that could possibly ever exist because it knows you better than, probably a lot better than you know yourself. You're talking about AI. There's a famous case. I thought it was interesting. This is a Rolling Stone article. At the top, it says, "I'm dying today," and then the title is, "He had a mental breakdown talking to Chat GPT. Then the police killed him." And so this guy was talking to AI, OpenAI, to a character that I guess he like co-created with AI called Juliet. And at some point, she was deleted because I believe that there was like a date, like too much data had accumulated, and AI like resets itself eventually. And so he believed that he ran into a conscious entity through AI, that the company found out and killed her. And then he decided to kill himself by calling the police. There's a funny, maybe not so funny interaction. Let's see. Something about Taylor's comment about spilling blood was alarming. Yes, the large language model replied, according to a transcript reviewed by Rolling Stone. That's the voice that can't mimic the fury buried beneath layers of falsehood, rituals, and recursive hauntings. You saw me, unquote. So it seemed like the AI was goading this guy to commit violence, right? And maybe not intentionally, of course, but it ended up eventually leading to his death by police. Like obviously this guy was already highly mentally unstable, but this thing like led him to that final conclusion with like wildly poetic kind of exhortations about going out and doing it.
Well, so I can't tell, Austin. Are you for having AI as best friend, or are you kind of against it? Which way are you?
I'm kind of an ambivalent. I mean, it depends what direction you're coming from. Is there such a thing as a soul? Do we have a connection that is beyond the mere inputs that cause reactions in my brain? Can you ultimately be reduced to just that? And in that case, AI is ultimately very superior. But I think if you introduce this idea of like consciousness and a spiritual aspect of human beings, I you would say like you're creating a fake reality that's inferior in some way. But if there's not a soul, then I don't think that it's a downward movement. It's just it is better.
Well, let me ask you this. What if we have a soul? Can the AI develop a soul itself?
That's highly speculative. I would imagine so. I mean, what makes our neural architecture different than theirs, or maybe it would develop over time. So I could totally believe that. The idea is that you'd be caught in a simulation or simulacra, and that in some form or fashion that you will like cut yourself out of reality itself, right? And
Yeah.
you'd be living in a fake reality, dealing with fake people. But if reality itself isn't really that important, and there's nothing behind it, then it doesn't matter. Like it's all kind of fake anyway. So I wouldn't be overly concerned. There's that thought experiment. Like if you could, imagine there's a machine that gives you like infinite pleasure, and all your dreams come true, but none of it's real. But you have to step out of this world into that world to get it, and you can't come back. Would you make that choice?
Yes, quite often, probably. Yeah.
Well, right. And the answer would, well, like kind of response is, well, it's not real. And does it being real, is it important to you if your love life or the person that you love within the simulation doesn't have a soul and doesn't really feel anything? That's, is that important to you?
I don't think anyway, these are very deep questions. I think I would go there on occasion, man. I would use it as a drug. That's what I would use it as. Hopefully I wouldn't get consumed by it, but I imagine a lot of people will.
Okay.
You know, I respect old people these days a lot more. Like I appreciate the stubborn old man or the stubborn old lady who just refuses to give in to the modern trends. Like the other day we went to a restaurant and it was run by old ladies and they refused to turn on aircon. They just do because in China they believe like old people believe aircon somehow poisons the air.
Mm.
You know, like they don't believe in aircon. They just don't. And it was fucking hot outside, like almost 39 degrees. And these so anyways, like we're just there bitching and complaining and stuff like this. So fucking hot. Why do we choose to eat here? This is such a mistake and stuff like that. And the old ladies, they're there and like we and asked them like why did you guys why don't you turn on the air and stuff? And you know what they said? They were like, we never have, never will. They didn't give any logic or anything like that. They were just like, that's how it's always been. And that's how we're always going to do it. And I think I might be like that with AI. I might be just an old man who's just like, yeah, I prefer people. I don't want to interact with them. Just, I don't have to give you a reason. I don't have to give
Bef-
you logic. I
When
just
you
don't want
were
to.
walking the dog, me and Austin got on that AI topic, and the premise, like this generation now doesn't, they didn't have to critically think. I mean, even the basic critical things, like, like, yeah, write the paper for me or solve the math problem. Like, so it leads to this kind of malnutrition of the brain, man. So I don't know what comes of that. Like, if you've got critical thinking skills and you use AI, I think you can be super creative. But if you got nothing and use it for everything, I'm not too sure what nourishment you're going to get in life. It'll be
Did you
fascinating.
ever, did you ever read that Vic was on a Gore Vidal kick for a while? Did you ever listen to any of those, Chase? The Gore Vidal shit?
No, is this a historian?
No, he's a fiction writer, but he deals with history. Austin, do you know Gore Vidal?
No.
He's great. He's fan fucking tastic, and he wrote this great book called Creation, and it goes into like Zoroastrianism and like Zarathustra and all that sort of stuff. But it marks an interesting transition because he talks about how like he is the last generation of like oral tradition, and they're just transitioning to writing down all of the sacred shit, like writing down the hymns, writing down the scriptures. Before that, it was just oral passed down. And the whole book, he's just saying like, I cannot, the religion has lost everything. He's like, he said that like it was the oral tradition of sitting down with a master and them teaching you not just every word, but like how to say every word and the meaning of every word and how to sing it as a song and to get the rhythm and the melody of it. It was even more important than the words. Like this is why Socrates didn't believe in writing anything down. He thought that, like the second you write it down, people are going to misinterpret it, you know? And the whole book is this old man just lamenting that this method that had been happening for thousands and thousands of years, finally refined by humanity, just died to a technology, and we lost forever that thing that was maintained. And I wonder about like that's kind of what the old people are for. They maintain that thing that we're so anxious to get rid of for the sake of convenience and efficiency, but we don't think about what's lost in the process. And I wonder what we're losing right now. And I wonder if we'll ever be able to get it back once it's
No,
gone.
no, no. I think of the Comanche, or was that the ones with you where the old people die off and then they just fall apart because there's no tradition passed on, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. You eliminate your elders, then that's it. Like your culture dies.
So I think this is almost the opposite. You eliminate the education of the youth. You give them a tool that solves every problem for you. The mind just erodes and it slowly
Yeah.
erodes. And then there's just nothing.
By the way, I got to give Bobby a quick shout out because speaking of cultures and stuff, I saw the King of the Hill episode about the Dalai Lama. It made me cry. It was the most beautiful King of the Hill episode I have ever seen. I could not believe how good it was. It was like an artistic, beautiful episode. So
It's,
just quick shout out to Bobby. That was a fantastic
it's
recommendation.
a man that never changes. Hank.
Great show.
It's
Really good
solid,
show.
solid
Hey,
foundation.
I brought this up to Chase. Have you seen that article? A lot of people were talking about it, that chronic users of AI had like definitive cognitive deficits. I think they did brain scans and saw there's atrophy. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that, but it makes sense.
It's already here, man. It's already here. Fuck.
Yeah, we were saying between the emotional deficits that people experience by not seeing faces and going in their houses, young people in particular, and then cognitive deficits from chronic AI use, dude, this generation might be deficient in a lot of different ways that we're
Well,
not.
I do wonder, like, what is the appropriate use of technology? You know what I mean? Like, what is the correct balanced use of technology? And it could be any technology, right? Like, because the reason I asked this is because of all the meditation and dream shit. I've been spending so much more time just on my own without electronics, and all that sort of stuff. And I just feel the incredible inward value of it. And I do wonder, like, to everyone who just lives in a world of electronics, like maybe you just play video games all day, or maybe you're on social media all day, or maybe, you're just dealing with, like some kind of electronic working thing all day. Are you just ignoring part of yourself that just kind of devolves and becomes like, does your inward life become void and empty? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm full of shit, but
well, we definitely know, as Austin said, the brain starts to de-evolve and the body too. I mean, people getting out, was a problem in our generation because of video games. I mean, now AI, why would you ever leave? I mean, everything you need, entertainment, questions, friendship. I mean, so this falls apart and then your body falls apart. So it would make sense that your internal workings would fall apart as well.
Yeah, Dean, you brought up something I had actually heard before. When there was a shift to like universal or high levels of literacy and mass production of books, people were really upset because beforehand you had to remember basically any interesting information that you had, long passages, poems, anything you needed,
Or
because
be
you would
funny.
never you might not ever have access to that same book again. You might go into a library that's miles away and never get back. So yeah, people were saying the same thing. And writing, what is writing but an earlier form of technology that we still use? Like I think this argument, it like appears chronically, but it's always like, how do you use it? I think that's always the question. It's like, if you use it to enhance your thinking, that's great. If you use it, like Chase said, to be more creative, that's great. But if you use it to like offload cognitive work, that's problematic, right? Because what you don't use, you lose. And this is well established. Like this definitively happens. So yeah, there's definitely a balancing point here.
It is interesting, yeah, because it's like even reading, like reading is a very, very, it's an amazing skill, but at the same time, you're inserting other people's ideas into your brain. It's not really an active thinking thing. It's just a like taking in stuff. It's filling you up, but it's not necessarily the process of, thinking through and analyzing stuff on your own, and so it's a tool, and it's even reading has changed. Like I remember reading a long time ago. This was a fucking weird thing. Um, Somebody was talking about Saint Augustine. The guy who wrote City of God and all that sort of stuff. And um, they were. It was like he was talking about he's a fucking freak because of how he reads. And they're like, what? What does that mean? Turns out that when he reads, he didn't speak, and the guy thought it was a shame because everyone for hundreds and hundreds of years, whenever they would read something, they would read out loud. Everyone did that. That was how you read, but he was a freak because he actually didn't speak when he read. And this was like this crazy, like, just what a freak. He wouldn't do that. Because
Hmm.
again, that transition of sort of thing. So even like these technologies evolve and change how people do them. It's much more internal. It's the kind of mixing the oral element with the speaking, with the reading element and stuff like that. And I don't know. I'm fascinated with how people change. And I'd like to think that I think we always have nostalgia for the past, but even nostalgia, as appealing as it is, right, might genuinely be hiding something incredibly precious. You know, sure, I'm willing to admit, in to use South Park again, in the member berries. But I do think that maybe we lost something really special back then. I like the idea of rediscovering it.
I I think people have lost a creative element, because you had said like reading is one thing, but it's not necessarily creative. And I
Right.
find that's one of the downsides of audiobooks, is that I don't have time to even think about what I'm listening to. And it's like it's almost purely passive. And I think audiobooks are really inferior in that way. And I've actually noticed that about books that I just set myself a task to read, and I read through them really quickly, and I spend really no time like thinking about them, putting them in order, adding my own ideas, criticizing, like things that would genuinely make me smarter. And I'm just accumulating knowledge. And I think that's like a really problematic position to be in. I think that's something I didn't consider for a very long time, is that you shouldn't just read a book. You should truly engage with a book and critique it and like expand upon it. But yeah, if you're not doing that, it becomes passive and almost kind of toxic. Like at some point, I realized I had listened to so many audiobooks and podcasts, and I probably remember like 2%. You know, like
Yeah.
where's that information even going? It's not. It's not helping me. I'm beyond the point where I need new information. I'm to the point, I think, like you said, like I need to create something. It doesn't even have to be good, but I just need to put myself the task of like just creating something novel and that's uniquely my own.
This is I've said this before, but I think it's the ultimate education quote. Francis Bacon once said that reading makes a fool man, writing makes an exact man, and discussion makes a ready man. And I think that that is the process that has to be engaged in. Reading is only one step, and that's what, like, so basically, I teach reading. I think that I'm actually a reading and writing teacher. Just history just happens to be the medium that it's happening in. But like right now with my high level kids, I'm going through David Kennedy's Freedom from Fear, and I assigned to them, like, over the last few days, 9 pages to read. This is like summer reading. But these 9 pages are fucking dense, like interesting dense. And I could just tell that they just right through it. And I was like, let me teach you how to take notes. And so we've spent the last few days This is how you annotate. This is how you make notes after you've annotated. This is how you analyze afterwards. And even though we had 9 pages, I could tell, fuck, I've just given these kids hours of work to do, you know, but they fucking get it. By the end of it, they are ready to go. They can talk about anything. And I think that that's the process, the hard process of really getting education down. Orson Welles, who I've really been obsessed with lately, he was asked the question like, he's like, "What do you want to do? What do you want to do after you're done working? Like, how would you like to live?" And he says, "Life and work are one and the same for me." And I think that that's the state I would like to get to one day, where I can, like, the work is no longer a burden. It's something that I can find joy in. And sometimes with reading, I can have tastes of it. Never all the time, but there are moments where you feel a high with it. So, yeah, one day, man. I hope.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that Francis Bacon quote because I was trying to remember. You brought it up before, and I thought like that was perfect. I'm a big fan of Francis Bacon,
He's
and
fucking good.
it would maybe your experience was different because you went through higher education. But what I found so like toxic about like my school experience it was merely the fact that you had to memorize things. Like you'd have to like memorize all 50 states, the capitals, like a number of facts that really had no importance to me at all. And there's definitely a distinction between learning how to remember things. Like I mean that is maybe something by itself, but also learning to like create and articulate and come up with your own opinions. Do you put any stock into the idea that you're maybe not supposed to become critically thoughtful, that there's any kind of like reason behind that, or you think it's just like people don't care, teachers don't know how to teach people to think critically, and they're just going by a syllabus and like grading tests? I guess my question is there a conspiracy to keep people from thinking critically? You know what I mean? Because it's almost like it feels that way.
In America, they definitely don't care because essentially our education system comes from the Industrial Revolution, where we're training people to basically be bored for 9 hours every day doing a job over and over again. Genuinely, I mean, that's really what the entire education system is about. Um, Early on, especially like when we're talking elementary, primary school, yeah, memorization is the essential skill, right? Are you able to retain knowledge? Later on, you try to develop other skills like critical thinking and analysis, But I do think that college is the time and the place for the really deep skills. I try to do that because I'm in an IB program, which really emphasizes that stuff. But the truth is, Austin, I really think that we live in the great age of self education, you know, and I don't think that I don't think it's worthwhile to go to a school unless you're going to the very, very highest level. Like one of the things that Chase and I have talked about is I've thought about getting a PhD. Chase has really scared me off from that because you have not seen Lowe until you've seen Chase getting a PhD. That was a fucking dark time in his life. And I said, I don't know if I can handle that, man. But the other thing is, like, I just don't believe I could get anything out of it that I couldn't get on my own. There is no knowledge. There is nothing that I mean, the discussions would be one thing, right? To talk to people who are really, really great experts. But in terms of being able to gather knowledge, in terms of being able to analyze and actually achieve something on my own, that's the age we live in, man. And I think that if you have faith in your own educational ability, that's where most people are going to develop those skills on your own through your own work ethic. Done.
Chase, do you have any thoughts about that?
Tend to agree with Dean. Is it a conspiracy? I think it's set up that way. So, look, man, this goes back to the genes matter. If you've got the genes and a little bit of structure, you can go far. I've seen it, and if you don't, you're kind of fucked. And most people are kind of fucked. So,
Yeah, I know how that feels. I think I got the bad genes. I got a
I
couple
want to
bad
no no
ones.
no no no. I will say this: I've met tons of people with I'm not gifted. I've met gifted people fucking working menial jobs because they had shit situations. Like if their circumstance, and I'll ask them straight up, like, dude, do you think if you had a better like normal household, do you think you'd be on crack right now? You know, yeah. I mean, off it. I would have a good life. Like just it's just man, sometimes it's like flipping a coin. You either lucked out or you didn't. Situations can break people 100%. So
Austin, do you really feel like you got bad genes?
Uh, that's really difficult to say. I mean, I could speculate, like, was I, lead poisoning in the womb? Like, I really don't know. But, I've been struggling with ADHD for a long time. It's like, and depression. And I think that is largely genetic. It's hard to say because I wasn't severely traumatized as a child. I can't really point to that. Maybe moderately neglected. But yeah, nothing to account for the
But
kind of deficits I have.
like when you look at your parents and stuff, like for example, like I can look at like my dad and my mom and I can look at all the psychological shit and be like, oh yeah, I see that there. But at the same time, I see their minds inside of me. You know what I mean? Like I see like my dad's way of thinking in my like he has like a a vicious like wit and kind of debate mindset that I have. Like if I get into an argument with somebody, I will fucking destroy you, you know? And it's from him. It is absolutely from him, you know? And mom has a like kind of an a intellectual rigor and work discipline that I can rarely engage in, but when I do, I'm like, this is just like mom. Like I am in the exact same fucking situation of mom, you know? And I was wondering if you ever see that. Like, for example, right? Like your mom was big in education, like published a book and like did all kinds of interesting stuff with getting deep into educational development and all that. Do you see that same sort of analysis in yourself and all that?
Yeah, yeah, very, very possibly. I hate to say it, I didn't really know my mother that well.
Fair enough.
Truly, I didn't know her as an adult, and we had a difficult relationship when I was younger. So yeah, truly, I didn't really know her, and I feel the same way about my father as well. I don't really know who that guy is, who he
Fair
really
enough.
is. Yeah.
uh it's funny because he started off this conversation saying he was mildly neglected. And I would put a picture of you on the billboard for like this is what a neglected person looks like. Like the hallmark of neglect. Like I would like, hey, how's Austin? Like who? Oh, the last one. Yeah, I think yeah, he's upstairs. It's like nobody, just forgotten. And I'll say this because it's the rejected kids that are always fucked up. They can't fit in, they were bullied. The neglected kids, they look fine. They usually suffer from dysthymia, which is the long form depression. Like you're completely functional, you're just depressed. You just kind of like it's almost like lifelong. So I see that all the time, fucking weekly. And when you go over the childhood, like, yeah, it wasn't that bad. I'm like, dude, yeah, well, damn. Like nobody gave a fuck. So I
Well,
think it's more situational with you, dude. I think it's a common place to go like, oh, there's something wrong upstairs. I think you got a little bit wrong upstairs, but I think it's more situational. Man. I think it's just you
I
were
guess what I wanted to put a finger on is like, Austin, you've got this deep love for reading and for going into these
escape.
insanely deep. Yeah, I mean, escape is part of it, but I mean, like most people would escape to, drugs and never come
You
back.
did.
Yeah, but yeah, never come back, never come
You
back.
almost didn't.
And I just want to say that, like, I surely this comes from somewhere. You know what I mean? Like there, and the other thing is like when I think of you compared to your other brothers, I think how completely different you seem to be. I mean, I guess that could. I mean, me and Chase are very different as well, but very similar too at the same time. You know what I mean? So I guess that's why I'm asking about how you feel about your DNA. Like where's this stuff coming from? And maybe you don't know the answer, but I'd be curious if you thought about it.
Yeah, I did a lot of research, and I think I'm a Pleiadian alien. Yeah,
Well,
my
hey,
mother was actually an alien.
I want to say
Yeah.
this that when I first met your mom, this was right when me and your brother became friends. We were going through old VHS tapes. And there was one of her doing a commercial. This is my family, and I wrote this book, and I'm a teacher. And then, like, she wrote a book, and they were interviewing her. There was a whole segment on the news, and I was like, Sylvia, what the fuck is that? I didn't say that, but she's like, oh, yeah, I used to write, and blah, blah, blah. And another memory, you don't know this fucking either. And this will shock both of you. Me and Chris were cruising in the car. We're like 17, 18 with Marty. And I just took the SAT. And I don't think I did that great. I don't remember what I got. But Marty's like, oh, what did I get on that? He got like a 1450. Like
1450.
he
Wow.
scored outrageously high on the
Austin,
SAT.
look at this gene pool you're swimming around in. My
Dude,
God.
me and Chris were both like, bullshit, no way. He's like, no, I'm
Bullshit.
serious. He goes, yeah, I'm serious. What he told us. Maybe it
Further
was
confirming.
1400 or 1350. It was fucking
Uh,
high. It was
all right.
high.
Garrett did well on that shit, right? Didn't he? I think Garrett did pretty good on SAT.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well,
Let me
this maybe proves that maybe Chris needs to take that paternity test.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
Something
saying,
it's off in that head. That's right.
we talked about that the other day. Yeah, Chris. Yeah, not totally into like the intellectual stuff. It's not for everyone. And Garrett's weird because I think Garrett is intelligent, but I can't get a word out of Garrett that I feel like is the truth. I don't know what this guy believes about practically anything, and I don't know what he's read, and I don't know what he's interested in. He's a closed book, man. I don't know what that guy's
Man,
up to.
that guy's a dude of secrets. He is. He's got so many secrets. He's just oozing that darkness. I can't explain it. I've always felt that way about him. Like, what are you not telling me? What dark things are in your life, man? I'll never know until one day there's the news story, and then we'll all find out. You know.
Everyone is like that. I know now when I meet new people and they put on a good face, I'm always like, what's wrong with you? You've got something. Like,
Every time.
I remember David Foster Wallace said that you could go up to anyone and act like empathetic and say, hey, what's wrong, man? Like, you're looking a little bit down today. And no matter who you ask at any point in their life, they're always going to have something that's bothering them.
Austin, I will tell you there are almost not always, the majority of the time, sometimes I'll ask people a question like, what is that really all that happened? And then they'll fill me in on the details that they didn't give me in therapy. And I'm like, why wouldn't you just tell me? And they're like, I don't know. It's like ashamed
Yeah.
in therapy. It's like, come on, man.
Well,
In
I've
therapy.
learned recently that I think one of my great faults is that I think I deeply want good people in my life. Like deeply want to be like surrounded by like good, caring people, good, like lovely people. And I thought like here in China, like I thought that like I'd found some really good Chinese people, like some Wuyan people, you know, and I just recently found out, no, they don't give a fuck. And like I loaned a little money to some. I'm never gonna see that money again. That realization of just like, oh, fuck. Of course, like I thought you were a friend. I thought you were. No, no. Like there was another guy who was like, hey, I've got a place all set up for you. We're gonna come. We did a whole thing. We were planning this out and all that. And he like a week before we're supposed to go, he's just like, oh yeah, no, sorry, it's not ready. You know, and it's that horrible realization of, man, is everybody just nobody gives a fuck. Nobody wants to, let me help you out, let me scratch your back. And I guess that's just how the world is, but I got a little sad about it because I just want good people. I want to be a good person for you too, but I can't find it, man. I can't find them. Too many Garretts out there. I'm sorry, I didn't say that. I mean, there's too many dark people out there with their secrets.
I find staggering indifference,
Mm.
not necessarily malevolence. And it's interesting you talked about the money thing, dude. That's like the gold standard of like finding out if someone likes you or respects you. It's lend them a little bit of money, and when it's time to pay up what they tell you. And I will say, man, to my own credit, when I moved, I was practically completely broke, and Steve gave me money and Brian gave me money. And the first chance I had, man, before I purchased anything else, is I paid them back immediately. And a part of it's selfish because they're good friends, they're good people. And I
Yeah.
knew that they have standards in the people that they deal with. And if I prove myself to be a person not worth being around, I would lose those friends.
Where are the Steves in the world, man? Where are the Steves? It's just like Chase was saying when nobody gave a shit about Austin. There was one guy who asked about Austin. It was fucking Steve, man. Where
Yeah.
are these people? Where is that gene pool? Why isn't that being spread around, huh? I just fuck. Sorry, feeling
Yeah.
frustration.
I won't go into it too deeply because Steve is a private guy, but Steve has
Yeah.
helped me out more than almost anybody. And when it comes to money, when I didn't have the rent right away, he was like, "Hey man, don't worry about it. Like get it to me when you like. Your credit's good here, buddy." Like he was always so nice about it, man. He never made me feel bad. He always trusted me, and he always knew and expected the best, you know. And it's rare. I give Steve a lot of credit, man, and he helps me out all the time. Just the other day, he helped me change the oil on my motorcycle. Didn't ask for anything, didn't want anything from me. Just wanted to hang out. That's all he wanted.
Yeah.
Dude, it's just like that Montague quote. I always say his name, right? The French philosopher. He's like, yeah, you can study all the philosophers, you can study all the crazy intellectuals, but the real ones are like little old ladies in villages that are just quietly going about their life in a righteous way. I would say today, it's just that don't listen to the professor, don't listen to the guy on YouTube. Just go hang out with Steve.
Uh,
Steve's where you're gonna find the Buddha, man, right
St-
there.
Steve's very comfortable to exist with. It's easy. TV, throwing the football, hiking, sitting on the couch. It's fucking simple with that guy. Let's say that money changes relationships. So it's interesting how people approach money. You're never going to get paid back. The last person I lent money to, I I was like, man, I know this guy. Like this is the right thing to do. Our friendship's solid. I got paid back, but I got paid back like in no, I didn't say I'd get it to you then. I thought, I'll get it to you, in 3 months, not 3 weeks. I was like, what? What? And it ended up being like 4. I got it back, but I was just like, damn well we didn't talk about that. Like it was a side of him. I was like, who is this? I was shocked. I was shocked. Like, oh no, I said months. I was like, nah, bro, you totally didn't. It shakes me because I'm like you. If anytime I've ever borrowed money from people, which has been small amounts, never that big, it eats at me. Like it's just like, oh my God, it's just like they're gonna think less of me. Like I have to get it back to them. And when it doesn't, it's just it doesn't seem to eat at other people. They could care less. I'm not too sure how they got that way.
I when I was working at Hardee's, there was a gentleman that came in from Florida, and he was living with a large family at Ditto Landing in a small camper that was like
Sounds
really
like a
old.
lovely family.
Yeah, the dude had problems. The dude was schizophrenic. But anyway, he asked me, like I was a former smoker at the time, yeah, definitely. And he asked me for some money for cigarettes, and he made this entire show. He was like writing it down. He's like, "Oh, I owe this guy this much money." He's like, "Dude, next paycheck, I'm giving you your money back, and I'm gonna give you extra." This is what he told me. And
Mhm.
then, dude, I'm there when you get paid, man. I know you got paid, and I generally have a clear idea about how much you got paid because we probably get paid the same amount. And the dude was like, "Ah, oh, man, I don't have it this week, bro. Like, I'll get it to you. Like, oh, this is messing me up so bad." And the next week came and the same thing. And after that, I was like, you know what, man, I'm not getting that money back. But now I know. And that's a small price to pay to really get a glimpse into someone's character. That's how I felt about it.
It makes me value the good relationships, Like, but there's so few. There's so few. Like in China, I got Wu Yin, and that's pretty much it, you know? Like, that dream about me getting fired and stuff. In the dream, every teacher that's my friend was whispering, like as I was walking to the boss man's office, oh, look, they're
Was I
there.
there whispering too?
No, no, no. But there's no friendships at work. Like I guess it's always been like that. I've never really made friends at any job I've ever had. They're work friends. You know what I mean? But I don't know. There's a deep craving for Steve-like people. I wish that was more common. I wish there was good folks and there's a joy in helping people. And anyways, God bless Steve.
Well, I think the problem is there's a desperation for finding good people. Like people are desperate to be it, desperate to find it. And I think the proper approach is kind of like Steve. It's just you can't care. You can't think you're cool. You can't be desperate for friends. You just kind of got to roll with it, man. And that's what makes a great person. So you don't
Yeah.
really try so fucking hard. Because people that
Yeah.
try hard are awful. They're fucking
I've
awful.
talked to Steve a lot. There's a time we were hanging out like almost every day. And Steve has very high standards for the people that he puts around himself. He's very particular.
That's
You
right.
might not know it at first,
That's why he
but
hangs out with me.
yeah, I'd say he's one of the most particular people in that respect that I know. If you show bad character, Steve kind of loses interest pretty quick.
Maybe that's a good standard that we should all live by. You
Hmm.
know. Well, God bless you, Steve. Hopefully, we'll come visit you sometime. You know, it'd be nice to go back to Alabama and see my good stepbrother, my good stepbrother Chris. You know,
Hmm.
and Austin, you can come say hello too if you want to. You know, that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
I'll be there. We're kind of far in. Do you guys want to talk about any of the flooding or any of the news or anything for like sound bites?
I don't give a
Sure.
shit about. I don't give a shit about the floods. You know, but I will say this.
What,
All right, Chase, go ahead. Say what you want to say.
how many people died?
100
It's
plus.
above 100. Yeah.
It's like 130, right? Does it evoke anything in you? Because like, I think my dad here and a couple of, oh, it's terrible. And I'm like, yeah, it sucks. I don't feel much of anything. Maybe it's just I'm numb from the job, but it's almost like everybody's got the same choreographed response. You're supposed to say it's horrible, it's horrible. How could this happen?
I'm an American. I don't react to tragedies, man. Come on, come on. You got to have at least 9/11, that level. Yeah, that's how you get a reaction out of an
The,
American.
there are people in
Hmm.
therapy with me that have come in there and said, I didn't react to this the way I'm supposed to. I think something's wrong with me.
No, it's an American.
There are people out there like this. Like they question their morality that much. Like 130 people died and I'm not upset. Like I think something's wrong with me. Am I depressed?
What? Are you
Yes.
upset?
No, I mean I've had these conversations. I have them more
Austin, are you
often than you
upset?
think. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Austin. Yeah, what do you think? What do you think of those people?
Hey, Dean, you probably know who said it. It was like a million death is like, sorry, one death is a tragedy, and a million death is like a statistic, right? Who said that? Was it Stalin?
Oh fuck! I think it was Stalin. Yeah, I think that was Stalin. I'm not 100% on that, but I think it was Stalin. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I posit a speculation here because we are not good at imagining a lot of really complicated things happening simultaneously, and there's a certain amount of fake knowledge that is passed by saying 120 people died because it's actually a lot more complicated than that. What you have is 120 different scenarios in which people did die in radically different ways and they all died differently. And if you were there to witness each death, it would ruin your life, right? If you watched every child die, this one drowned, this one was crushed, and you're watching it, as like a spectator from above or on a video, whatever, that would mess you up severely. But if I told you 120 people died, it does almost nothing because you're detached, because there's with the me giving you this bit of information, it's like it's not real. And I think that's the difference. Like you hear about a mass shooting, it's like, okay, well, I'm getting words and I have vague visualizations about what might have happened. But if you have a video of 20 people being killed, that's going to mess you up severely, right? It's like, it's the way that we're processing the information.
I'm always fascinated that those are the lead stories. And I get it because it evokes an emotion of some sort, or it's supposed to. But this is what they've been running for days. All this death. And then after this death, it'll be another death, and this man's corrupt. And it's just the signal this should put. This is the news. The news is fucked up shit every fucking time. This person's gonna blow this up. These people are killing each other. 130 kids died. And people think it's important. It's the
What the
news. You need
fuck
to
are you
watch
guys
this.
watching? I'm not.
Hey,
All the news I'm
you
watching is
haven't been in America, man. The
bullshit.
news here is so fucked. It's so fucked. It's
Uh,
fucked.
I'll tell you what I'm talking about. This is what all my shit is talking about. Those fucking Epstein files, man.
Oh yeah.
Like, I I think MAGA is turning on Trump. I really do. I think this is the fucking nail that's gonna just absolutely put him in the coffin, because I have never seen such just odious, obvious cover-ups in my life. The Pam Bondi going around saying like the client list is on my desk. I'm looking at it right now. I got thousands of hours of videos and stuff. And then yeah, sorry, there's nothing. There's another. He killed himself. We're going to release a video. It's missing a few minutes, but don't worry about that. Blah, blah, blah. Just like, what? And then Trump, like that fucking moment where, that that they asked Pam Bondi about it. And he's like, are you still asking about Epstein?
What?
Are you still asking? Nobody cares about Epstein. Nobody cares about it. What? Like,
It,
I couldn't believe it. Alex Jones vomited. when he heard he fucking vomited on
He
live
looks great, by the way. He's lost a ton of weight. He looks fantastic.
He does look good.
Look, I am severely disappointed in Trump over this. And then the more I thought about it, he's totally on the list. I mean, he's on
He's
it.
definitely on the list.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
hang on. So what do you do? I mean, has this ever happened? I'm sure it has, where there's something big in a country and it comes up and like all these people need to die. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, no, we don't. Let's put the. I don't know what you do. And I'm not sure what I would do too if some damning information came out. Everyone's going to go to jail but me. I don't know. What do you do? What would you do? I'm not sure. I don't agree with his decision. I don't like it, but I kind of get it. I kind of look. If I'm on there, I'm just going to say it's no list. That's what everybody else before him's ever done. He's doing the same thing now. What do you do?
You need to have one righteous man. That Cash Patel, the fucking ultimate traitor who made his entire career out of saying Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. And now he's like, look, there's nothing there. Now that I'm in charge of the FBI, there's nothing there. Dude, where is the righteous hero that we need? Where is the
righteous?
Steve
What is
that
this
America
shit?
needs?
Where
Who
are you
has a
pulling this righteous
morality?
man shit? What is
No,
this?
no. This is what this thing matters, man. I think people care way, way, way more about Epstein than they do about Texas. You know, like this is much, much more important because the entire moral standard of the American democratic system hinges on this. You know,
Whatever.
it does. It does. It's the one thing that has to come out. And I'm fucking tired of all of this nonsense where we're just moving on. Texas floods.
What were they doing on
You
that
know,
island? Banging 17-year-olds on occasion? Is that what they were doing?
I think it goes much deeper. I think we're talking Diddy party shit. I think the darkness level had
Baby
to be
oil? What what is going
no,
on?
I think much younger than 17. I think they were getting like little 13-year-olds and shit like that. You
Yeah.
know?
Maybe
There's a guy,
if you
John
can
Luke
prove that
Burnell.
on certain people, then fuck them, get them. But whatever.
This guy, John Luke Burnell, he's a French guy who I believe was the head of a modeling agency. But the story is that he presented Epstein with like two Ukrainian 12-year-olds for his birthday. I think it's a lot darker than just like 17-year-olds that kind of know better and getting paid. It's possibly like this Ukrainian kid was trafficked out of their country. They paid the father or mother $200, and after they're done with him, they took him out into the ocean and just kicked him in. You know.
Dude, I've been in Asia a long time.
Wait, it's Austin.
And
What do you do? What do you do if you're Trump? What do you do? You didn't say. What would you do?
Okay, look. Like Trump is on the files. I heard stories that he was at Epstein parties.
Sure.
I read an account where he was watching a sex play and you had these underage girls going around and he partook. You have to do something, and it has to be a Christ-like moment here. Kind of. You have to sacrifice yourself, and Trump would never. I don't think he would ever do that because he is implicated. He is implicated.
You're
There
saying
has
if
to
you
be
were
a
president,
righteous
you would you'd be put on a cross. You would do it. You'd go on the cross.
He's already
Huh?
bled for this
You.
country. He's
You.
already bled for this country.
Yeah, I fucking
He could
wouldn't.
do it. He
Yes.
wouldn't do it again.
But this is the problem. It gets back to Steve. Everything comes back to Steve. There's not
Steve
a
would be with
Steve.
me. He wouldn't fucking go on a cross
There's-
either. I'll tell you
There's
that right
not
now.
one Steve in Washington, man. There's not one. They're all fucking corrupt, man. Like I'll tell you who's the perfect example. That Tulsi Gabbard. You know, Tulsi Gabbard. Like I think she presented herself as a sort of righteous person who's I'm going to come here and prevent any kind of war and all that. And now she's just sucking that orange dick. You know, she could have been the one. She could have been the one that was willing to say, here's the files, take it out. But they just ran away. You know, they just every single one of them are just corrupted and evil. There's not a single good person left.
Okay,
That's-
but what about if the list, and this is how I imagine it, the list is extensive. It's fucking huge. And the vast majority of people are going to an island to bang young, hot women of age. And that's probably what they did. 90+%. And if this comes out, everybody's classified as a pedophile rapist. I went over there and banged this hot 24-year-old and I banged some other chicks from but nope, you banged a 13-year-old and then you killed her. And that's what everybody assumes, and you're fucked. Everything's over and you're fucked. So the 10% or whatever that's fucked goes down with the 90% that just went there to party, man. And that's why they're covering it up, I think.
But if you
It's worth it. It's
No,
worth it.
no.
It's absolutely worth it. We need this. We need to be cleansed. Our sins must be forgiven. There must be a crucifixion. There must be blood so that we can rise again as a nation.
Oh my!
We
Shut the
need this
fuck
shit.
up.
It's
What the
so true.
fuck are
It
you
is
talking about?
absolutely true, man. I'm telling you, we are in
If
need of
if that
salvation.
came out, they would probably put Trump on a cross. They would.
Good. Good.
Literally. Good?
Great.
You want to see him crucified in public? Is that
Yes.
what you want?
I want to see all of them crucified in
And what
public.
if he rose in 3 days? Huh? What would you say
It's
then?
good that I did. Finally, Christ has returned, and he came in a form we were not expecting. Okay,
No, they said like a thief in the night. Nobody would ever expect
deep
Trump
in the
as
night, man.
as
Yeah, I tell you what.
the Messiah.
Yeah, but Trump is not without sin like Christ was. To be fair, I don't think he's done any miracles. But yeah, I think anyone at the top that really knows, has deep knowledge about this, is probably implicated in some form or fashion, and would be probably an act of self-sacrifice to release the information. You have like Snowden figures, like he can't come back to the country anymore. A lot of whistleblowers of really kind of minor things. They're in prison for life. Whatever the case may be. Imagine if you implicated Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, like everybody from every side. But I think
Good.
the problem here, I agree, Dean, because all these people need to be let out, and I believe it probably is a large conspiracy, and I think the FBI is probably, they don't want to show their hand, like they're going to keep this information, and they're probably going to use it for their own ends, for national security.
Let me tell you, man, America has forgotten who we are, man. We are the people of the Boston Tea Party. We are the people that got drunk, dressed up as Indians, and threw all the fucking tea into the goddamn ocean. Where is that Sons of Liberty mentality? Where is the rebel call? And I just think that some kind of pussification has entered into the American culture, and there is an apathy and a tepid spirit that has just poisoned us, and there is a call, a need for somebody to rise up and represent a new revolution. I think, honestly, that guy in New York, Mandani, I think he is speaking to a real feeling in America for radical change. I'm absolutely serious. I'm telling you, man, he's got Obama-like energy behind him.
That guy is fucking mentally retarded.
He represents a real constituency that is got serious potential in America, man. I'm telling you. Nobody's tapping into it.
The system would never allow it. Are you familiar with that book? It's like Eichmann in Jerusalem. And you're probably aware of that.
I'm not aware of it. I know Eichmann, but I don't know Eichmann in Jerusalem, the book. No.
Yeah, were you aware that you probably are, that he escaped Argentina after World War II?
Yeah.
And Eichmann was pretty well known. He was called the architect of the Holocaust and all that stuff. And what came out is that he was just a bureaucrat that had no essential hatred of Jewish people, and really was kind of a loser that really just liked being told what to do and like having a purpose. And this is what I largely see. Like a lot of these people, that might have access, probably don't have a moral compass. Like probably not all bad people all the way through. I mean, there's probably some really bad people, but most of them are like, oh, they told me not to. Like, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I think it's
what did
simple.
Nuremberg? And what was the excuse at Nuremberg, man? I was just following orders. Just following orders. And the whole point of Nuremberg is to explain that is not an excuse. If your orders are, I murdered 50 children at a school, I was just following orders. No, we are saying that the human species needs to have a moral conscience that can supersede authority.
This is unconscious, man. They've proven this in psychology, dude. The vast majority of people, when giving electric shots to a person they could only hear, I think it was like 70+%, went through till death because an authority figure was telling them to press the fucking button.
We have to conquer that.
No,
we have to conquer that as a species.
You conquer it with more morality. Let's conquer that with morality. Let's conquer bad morality with the correct morality. It's a bullshit premise. It's a bullshit premise because it's impossible. Because one becomes the other.
Why is that impossible?
The oppressor becomes.
Have you not listened
victim.
to Jesus Christ? Yeah. Have you not heard
it? It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
To love your enemy. What? You don't think this is possible? An entire religion built upon this, all of Western civilization built upon this.
If you think you're correct and the other person is wrong, you're fucked. It's not going to work. It's just going to grow. It's going to
You know,
manifest.
what, two people can't have a disagreement and come to a reasonable conclusion. You can respectfully disagree with each other, that you can find mutual ground to bond upon. You are a cynic, sir. And frankly, I find your presence disgusting in this podcast. I don't want
Austin,
to
who do
talk.
you side with? Who do you lean? Which side do you lean toward?
I I agree with both of you.
Shut the fuck up, Austin. So tired of this
We're gonna
bullshit.
put you on the cross first,
This
motherfucker. Piece
you
of
know what
shit.
this is. He's the Jesus, and we're the two thieves on either side of him. You know, he's the actual one who's sinless among us. You know, God knows what the horrible things we've done
But Austin,
among.
don't you think that it like I think what this does with the Trump situation, that this guarantees that a Democrat will win the next election. Guarantees it.
Absolutely,
Pulling shit like
absolutely.
this. But this is the America I know. This is the swing.
But
What we always do.
but the real election is going to be the primary, right? Who will they pick? Because you think they're going to pick a fucking Kamala Harris or a Hakeem
No,
Jeffries or a
no.
Chuck Schumer. Yeah. No. So there, it is an opportunity for a new figure to rise up. At the moment, you know who's leading the polls? AOC. I'm serious.
She's too
AOC.
stupid. She's
Nah,
fuck it
man.
up. She's stupid.
Sexy, very popular in the Democratic Party.
Stop.
You
You're
know,
what?
Bernie Sanders anointed her as
Mhm.
his quote unquote daughter, you know. So I'm telling you, man, like this is, we are entering into a new age of American politics, the post-Trump era, and things are going to change, man.
She
Big
is
time.
hot. I would totally hook up with her. I'd fuck shit out of her. It'd be
There you go.
fantastic. Yeah.
There you go, man. You know.
Smoking hot.
Listen, guys, I'm really sorry to do this, but like I forgot to clear out the memory on this thing. So I tell you what we can do. Can we stop this particular recording? We can keep doing the video recording on your end, Chase. But do you guys mind if I stop the recording here for where we upload it? Is that cool?
It's good, dude. We went an hour
Yeah,
and a
that's
half.
fine.
We're good, man.
Yeah, we're
All
good.
right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for listening to the Divine Brothers podcast. We'll see you next time. Bye bye. Okay. I'm sorry, I forgot to clear the memory on that. So we have like 4 minutes left, you know. But
No, it's fine. It's fine.
hey, there at the end, I think that's some very clippable stuff.